Ms. Levert, kind of what are you recommending today with the children?
Well, sir, we are asking for a TMC of all 3 children today.
Okay, now, so Ms. Baker, have you been able to even talk to Ms. Kennedy to find out what her position is going to be today?
Yes, I have, Your Honor. I think we're going to probably have an agreed order, but today I do want to make sure that she's in contact with it before I announce that. I want to make sure she knows what loop she needs to jump through and she needs to contact first. It's my understanding from the facts of the case, her infant tested positive, so I don't really know a basis for having a contest at this stage, but I do want to make sure that there's a hair follicle test or whatever drug testing is done immediately. She didn't think she would test positive, and she really didn't understand why her baby tested positive, according to my conversations with her.
And so for that's for Kyrie?
Yes, Kyrie is the baby. Yes, Judge.
And do you know, Ms. Little, had you heard that Kyrie had tested positive?
Yes, Kyrie did test positive for amphetamines.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Judge, we did try to have the mother test by way of hair follicle, but she did not want to take the test. From what I understand, it's for religious reasons. So if she does want to now take the test, then of course we would absolutely want something on the record so that we don't want any First Amendment issues down the road.
Right. I think I explained to her kind of the process and what it would take to get her children back. And I think after consultation with an attorney,
Okay.
she may have changed her position on that, but I that's not testimony or evidence. That's just I'll ask her those things if we can get her in this
And she just
process.
Yeah, she should be here now.
There she is.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
I see Ms. Kennedy.
I see her.
Is she there?
Okay, and Ms. Wagner, what have you been able to consult with anybody to make any recommendations today?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke to the kids by FaceTime yesterday, and they're doing wonderful where they are. I would recommend that the department take TMC today.
Excellent.
And I realize Mr. Smith and Mr. Beckworth are sort of at a disadvantage since you haven't talked to anybody. So are you you're going to want to hear the testimony today from the workers?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge, I don't foresee any objection, but neither can I agree to agreed orders at this point.
All right, so everybody here then ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess just for Ms. Lozano's benefit, I'll give a name and then you can announce your name and say who you represent. So I'm just going to start at the upper row here. So this will be cause number 2020L7787 in the interest of Jamarius Ward, Bryasia Tarver, and Kyrie Scott. So first, I guess, Mr. Smith, you'd announce who you are and who you represent.
I'm Dyer Smith. I'm an attorney ad litem for Mario Tarver, alleged father.
And Ms. Wagner.
Sarah Wagner, attorney for the children.
And Ms. Little.
Allie Little, investigation supervisor for the department.
And Ms. B.
Gabriella B., paralegal for the department.
And Ms. Baker.
Dana Baker, attorney ad litem for the mother, Kathleen Kennedy.
And Ms. Barte.
Margaret Barte, legal secretary for the department.
And Ms. Howell.
Tracy Howell, CASA supervisor, guardian ad litem for the children.
And Mr. Beckworth.
Ben Beckworth, attorney for Arthur Scott.
And Ms. Levert,
Yes, attorney for the department.
and Mr. Keller,
William Keller, and I'm the investigator assigned to this case.
and Ms. Kennedy.
She needs to unmute herself.
If
Miss
you could-
Kennedy. You might find a picture of a microphone up there and just need to click on that to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm Kathleen Kennedy. I'm the mother of J. Mary Sword, Breasia Toffer, and Kyrie Scott.
All right, so Ms. Levert, what witnesses will you have testify today?
I only have Mr. Keller, William Keller from the department.
All right, and Mr. Smith, are you going to have anybody testify?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Beckworth,
No, Your Honor.
and Ms. Wagner?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Keller, if I can get you to raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Levert, you may proceed.
Excellent. Thank you, Judge. Judge, can we go off the record for 1 second?
Okay, sure.
I
We'll
just
go
want
off
to
the-
clarify something. Now, what testimony would you like? Do you want me to go through all of the facts since we have an agreement? I didn't.
Well, I think for Mr. Smith and for Mr. Beckworth, since they have not been able to talk to their clients, I think we should at least give an outline of the facts, and then Mr. Smith and Mr. Beckworth can cross-examine or ask more if they want.
Excellent. Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
So go back on the record.
Okay, Mr. Keller, how are you associated with this case?
I am the investigator assigned to this case.
Okay, and when did you become associated with this case, assigned to it? I'm sorry.
On 12/26, I believe.
Okay, and now I have that an intake report received on December 22nd of last year.
Yes.
Okay, and what was that? What were the grounds for that intake?
The intake reported Kyrie Scott tested positive for amphetamines at the time of birth.
Okay, and was that for neglectful supervision?
Correct.
Okay, and did you make face-to-face contact with the mother, Kathleen Kennedy, on December 23rd, 2020?
Yes.
Pardon me?
Yes.
And what was the topic of that conversation?
The topic of that conversation was to put in place a safety plan so that her children would be able to stay there with her, and she would have a 24-hour monitor in the home because we were unsure of her drug usage, of any drug usage.
Okay, and let's be clear. Did you discuss the positive amphetamines in the baby's meconium?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and then you discussed having a monitor in the home with her?
Yes.
Okay, and when was your next contact with Miss Kennedy?
My next contact was the following Monday, I believe, the 20. I forgot the exact date. I have it here.
Well, let's back up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now, was there an incident on December 25th of 2020?
Yes, there was.
Okay, and what was that incident?
On that incident, Mr. Scott, Kyrie Scott's father, there was an altercation at the home, and Mr. Scott had flattened the tires of Miss Kennedy's vehicle. I believe he fled the scene, and he was caught with cocaine in his pocket, and the charge was possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute.
Okay, was this called a domestic dispute by law enforcement?
Yes.
And was Miss Kennedy arrested?
No.
Okay. And let's see. Now, did you go to the home of Miss Kennedy on December 28th?
Yes, I did.
And what happened during that visit?
On that day when I arrived, the 24-hour monitor that we had put in place for our safety plan was not at the home. So at that point, we began to try to figure out a different method to have her children placed outside of the home with a relative or a family friend or someone of that sort.
Okay, prior to asking or inquiring about possibly placing the children, did you explain to her about the violation of the safety plan?
Yes.
Okay, and now what reasonable efforts did you make to not place the children outside of the home?
Okay, on the 28th, we spoke with her, the maternal grandmother, her mother, and we attempted to see if we can have the children placed with her. She has a live-in boyfriend that's currently on probation. So the maternal grandmother was ruled out. We tried her sister. Her sister had a previous CPS case where her children were taken from her. So that ruled her out. We had the paternal grandmother. We tried her, and she has a son living in her home who's also on probation. So that was ruled out. And we also tried a family friend, and she has 5 young children already in her home. And we didn't feel that it would be suitable to place 3 more young children in that home just with her.
Okay, and now have you asked Miss Kennedy to drug test for you?
Yes, I did.
And what test did you ask her to take?
I asked her to do a urinalysis and also a hair test.
Okay, is that the hair follicle?
Correct.
And did she take the drug tests?
She did take the urinalysis, but not the hair follicle.
And why did she not take the hair follicle?
She stated that it was due to a religious belief, voodoo.
Okay. And was that the end of that then?
We tried to see if there were any other way that we could get her to go and do the hair follicle, and she was not able to commit to do that.
Okay. And I know before it was stated that now she is willing to complete the hair follicle, but if she is not, are you asking the court to order the hair follicle testing?
Yes, we are today.
And where are the children now?
The children are currently placed in a foster home.
Okay, and just for the record, where are the fathers?
Mr. Scott, the last face-to-face contact that I had with him, he stated he did not want to have anything to do with this case. He did not want to risk getting in any more trouble. Mr. Tarver, I have had no contact with him, and Mr. Ward is deceased.
Okay. Okay, well, hopefully Mr. Scott understands that you get in trouble when you do not take care of your children. Okay, so are you asking the court to order the temporary managing conservatorship to the agency?
Yes.
That's in the best interest of all the children?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keller. Pass the witness, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Smith, we'll go to you first, and I can tell you during the introduction, it was a little hard to hear you, so I guess just speak slowly.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
It's very muffled.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I apologize about that. I just have a couple of questions. Mr. Keller, when you said the paternal grandmother was looked at as a potential placement, which father's mother were you talking about?
Mr. Ward, the oldest son's mother.
All right. And the initial visit you said was for the positive amphetamine test at birth. Why was that a month after the birth?
The reporter reported it at that time. That's when we received the case.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Wagner?
Just a few, Your Honor. Sir, if any other relatives came forward with names for potential placements, would you be willing to consider them?
Yes, with me?
Yes, sir.
In the future, yes.
Okay, and it's the department's goal to always place these kids with family if at all possible. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I pass the witness.
Ms. Baker?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Beckworth?
No questions, Judge.
All right, anybody else have anything for Mr. Keller or any other witnesses?
No,
Yes.
Judge, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Howell, you want to give CASA's input?
Oh, yes.
I spoke with the caregiver today. I haven't visited the kids. I'm trying to make sure she's comfortable with in-person visits. I think we worked out something maybe for this week. But she reports the children are doing okay. She does want some more information for Jamaris's regarding his school. She's trying to get him registered in school, and she just does not have any information to assist with that, like what grade he was in or what kind of special services he was receiving. But it does sound like they're doing well. They're all together, and CASA's in agreement with the department.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Howell?
Judge, I don't have any questions, but I did want to speak to Jamaris's school records. Since school was closed last week, we weren't able to get that information. So with school being back open today for in-service, we will request those and get those sent to the foster parent as soon as we receive them.
Great. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions or testimony? All right, well then I'll appoint the department as a temporary managing conservator of the children. When do we want to come back with this one?
Peggy or Gabby, when are we slated to come back?
We're slated to come back for our normal Austin County docket on Tuesday, January 26th. And then the next date is February 23rd.
Okay.
And I think I sent you a text. The February date is 50 some day. I think it's right at 50 days out.
They would either, the February date would be within the 60-day time frame of removal.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we use the February 23rd date at 1:30?
Okay, excellent.
And so Ms. Levert, will you circulate an order and then e-file that, or how are we going to do this?
Yes, sir. I guess we will circulate it and it'll be e-filed. Yes.
All right. And so Mr. Smith, how much time have you had?
1.5 hours.
And 1.5 hours. And Mr. Beckworth?
1.5 plus this hearing, Judge.
And Ms. Wagner?
1.5, Judge.
And Ms. Baker?
1.5.
Okay. Okay. And Okay, so Ms. Baker, did you have any, questions or anything that you wanted to ask Ms. Kennedy?
Yes, I do. Ms. Kennedy, do you understand that the court has ordered you to take drug testing?
Yes.
Okay. And you and I talked earlier, earlier during this investigation, you weren't represented by counsel, correct? Do you understand? I mean, you understand? You just now have an attorney, correct?
Yeah, I'm just now getting an attorney. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so your prior refusal to cooperate was without the benefit of representation at the time. Is that correct? And after we talked, is it your agreement that
Wait. We need to get a verbal response from Ms. Kennedy to Ms. Baker's question. So I don't know, Ms. Baker, if you want to restate your question.
Yeah, so Ms. Kennedy, when you respond to questions, you can't nod or shake your head. You have to say yes or no so the court reporter can take down your testimony. Do you understand that it's in your best interest to cooperate with the department in terms of completing the services they make available to you?
Yes.
And are you willing to submit to any drug testing that they request at this time?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have, what is your current address physically? Are you still at the same address?
Yes, 19 South Matthew Street, apartment 6, Belleville, Texas, 77418.
Okay. And do you have, does everyone with the department, do you know if they have your email address and phone numbers?
I had gave it to Mr. Williams.
Okay. And has Mr. Williams been your primary contact in terms of what is expected from you or to get information?
Yes.
And was Mr. Williams the one that arranged, you've had a visit with your children since the removal?
Yes.
Okay. I will pass the witness.
Okay. And then Ms. Kennedy, do you have Ms. Baker's contact information?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, then Ms. Levert will get that order circulated and we'll be back on February 23rd at 1:30.
Excellent. Thank you, Judge.
Wait, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Hold on a minute. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. All right. Then that's it. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.